Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the counselor's office. Mr. Gaming Counselor, and we're back with more Destiny 2 reacts. Today we have an article by Paul Tassi titled, "Can Destiny 2 reverse its largest ever player loss?" Obviously, in the title, focus on can Destiny reverse player loss. That's an important topic, and I've noted it, and I've said several things about how it's not looking good. I am going to do something different, though. Well, it's not necessarily different. I've tried it once, but I'm going to try it again. You guys let me know which you prefer. But I'm going to read the article as is and then give my opinions on the back. You can let me know if you like that for articles. Obviously, videos, I will continue to react as I watch the content, because I feel like if I just watch it and don't react, I'm just stealing content at that point. I want to give my opinion and the whole purpose of even talking about the video. So for this sake, I will just try reading the article, and you can sound off which way you prefer, reading and reacting as we go, or upfronting the article and then reactions at the end. Shoot in the comments. All right, let's start off. Paul Tassi starts with, "For a long while, I was publicly concerned about what would happen to interest in Destiny 2 after the final shape, the end of its 10-year saga, as it seemed like a hard stop point for many. Now, obviously, there are large issues within Bungie and dramatically scaled back plans for the future. The question now is whether those plans can get at least some of the departed players to return to the game. And though it seems unlikely the upcoming plans will ever lead to serious highs again, we may soon see what the new normal is for Destiny 2 and where things go from here. The metrics are not great. To start with, reports indicate the final shape sales are lower than previous expansions, and we can see at least some indication that through Steam. Here are the largest player count increases by percentages in Destiny 2 history, at least in the Steam era. The Witch Queen, plus 267%. Lightfall, 227%. Seasons of the Rivals, 179%. The Final Shape, 157%. Beyond Light, 156%. Seasons of the Haunted, 104%. And a 30th Anniversary Pack, 103%. The Final Shape did, in fact, get the second highest concurrent player count in Destiny 2 history, just a little short of Lightfall, almost certainly due to tech problems on launch day. But the problem is what happened afterward, which is amplified by the fact that the Final Shape was extremely good. Players just seemed done afterward. Post Final Shape, we have seen a 67% drop in peak players, the largest since the 61 dip a little while after the release of the Witch Queen. Despite how poorly Lightfall was received, in the months that followed, it saw a 19% dip, and then a 44% dip. Eventually, however, in the middle of the delay of the Final Shape, Destiny 2 did reach its lowest peak ever of 46K in February 2024. And then here we are, the numbers of what this is about right here. This was August 2024. There we go. But the current peak player count of 63 is the third lowest in series history, just above November 2022's 60K. It seemed destined to get below that quickly. Again, these windows usually occur sometime in the middle of large-scale delay during significant content dead zones. Right now, we are in the middle of an episode just weeks ahead of its final stretch of missions. This really shouldn't be happening now. I do, however, believe we are going to see things pick up with more compelling episodes to come. The next focus on the Fallen, Scorn, and Crow. The third about Hive, Pantheon, and the return of the Dreadnought. I also believe we will see a surge during this first smaller expansion to launch Destiny 2 Frontiers, as that should bring a new destination, likely a planet outside the system, which will be very cool to see. Where things settle, however, remains yet to be seen. Yes, it's true that 40 to 60K players a night would be something many games would kill for, but as we know, Destiny has been losing money as this content costs more than it earns. The question now is if it stretched out episodes, which presumably will cost less than 4 seasons a year, and smaller expansions will be cut cost, but also balance enough players to get enough into the green. I don't think we know the answer to that yet, but no, current numbers are not good. So let's just go back to the top. I have a lot of feedback. So before we start anything, there's going to be a lot. There's always been people in like the comment sections and even like Twitter trying to say like, oh, well, here comes the Destiny's dying people. Like, see you in a couple months when you say it again. But I think historical context is very important, especially now that we can look back and we know a lot more. Knowledge is key, and fact is better than just feelings, which a lot of people are basing a lot of these comments on. Oh, getting mad at people for pointing out that the player count is dipping. When Destiny 2 first launched, it was dying. The player count was abysmal. The reason it succeeded was because of Activision. Activision and Vicarious Visions helped Bungie make the banger that is the Forsaken expansion, right? Held, even Last Wish is still held by many as one of the best raids in Destiny history. I still think Wrath of the Machine does. But again, they had someone to lean on. They fell back on Activision. Fast forward, Bungie's on their own, and guess what? Destiny is dying again. By the way, all Destiny 1, when people kept on saying Destiny was dying, the reason it was really thriving or even being able to stay afloat is because they had Activision the entire time. Like they were literally working with Activision. Like Activision's not going to just let it completely die off, right? So let's put that into perspective. But when Bungie cut off all funds and they're on their own, they made Shadowkeep, Online. Yes, we had the banger that it was Witch Queen, but their sales, well, they're just kind of going and going and going. And you got to remember, Witch Queen was a banger, but people like the fans and the community were tired of seasons at this point. We're complaining like we're tired of the same old. So people are leaving, not buying anything. And like you said, sales were dipping. Player count dipping because they're tired. They're tired of seasons. And we know this to be true because Bungie literally almost went into insolvency, which led to them selling themselves to Sony. Do we see what's going on here? They oversold themselves to Sony. Sony bought them up. And guess what? Who's there helping them right now as game is dying? Sony. Sony's coming in. And also, by the way, Sony literally gave them money to help stay afloat. Like they literally gave money to keep their employees and all that. Again, context matters. Destiny has been constantly dying. The reason they've been successful is not because they've somehow magically pulled together. It's because they've literally leaned on some other company or someone else. It was Activision, now it's Sony. But the difference is Sony's not buying this bull crap. Sony is now saying, hey, you're taking our money. You're forcing us to keep you afloat. You're making stupid choices. Now we're going to make the choices for you, which is why now there's not just a regular CEO. There is a co-CEO, which is not heard of in the gaming industry. That it's normal to have a CEO to start out with. It's not normal to, in the middle or the end of the life of a game, to just suddenly have a co-CEO show up and take over or help take over. It's just the context, it matters. Destiny has always been dying to some degree. It's just Bungie's always relied on someone else to flip the bill until they literally had no one else and they almost ran themselves through, which is why they sold themselves to Sony. Like, I want people to realize Bungie almost dissolved because of the financials. So I think that's important context to just like when we're saying Destiny's dying, it's not like, oh, it's just a thing to say. No, it's actually, they're actually dying. In fact, people now, because of Bungie's incompetence, or at least the leaders, Bungie themselves is dying. People are being fired, being let loose. And yes, there is context of COVID, but we know that COVID is not the excuse for why they were losing money or not making money. Literally, they're over projecting themselves at 45%. Sony is not like, companies don't go in and reshape your company unless you're being stupid. And we know that the leaders of Bungie were being stupid financially, making poor choices, being over ambitious, trying to do multiple things, not even focusing on the bread and butter, which we as the player obviously noticed with Lightfall and all the stuff, all the cheap pieces of crap seasons. Like anyone who played seasons can tell you that it was bare minimum. It was just, even Season of the Wish was copy pasta. You literally did like Lost Sectors. You just did the same old crap, reused content. And it was very apparent that the people who would normally make it were on other activities. The money was being spent elsewhere. And we have confirmation that is the case. So let's not act like Bungie is like this hero that they always rise to the occasion. No, they've been leaning on the backs of other people to help them back up. At least the leaders. I guarantee the developers out there are busting their backs, and it's unfortunate that they're the ones thrown onto the live grenade. But imagine if they all just like, I don't know, walked out and refused to do anything. Go ahead, fire your entire team who makes Destiny and see how that plays out. I'm just saying, like, if they actually banded together and said, screw you, Pete, they can make a difference. I went on a little rantily rattling, but I always get really annoyed when people are so ignorant and they make the comment, oh, you're just saying that Destiny's dying. Listen, you don't lose 67% of your player base, and that's not going to be not considered dying. When people are losing their job, when the other Sony comes in and pulls people out of your company to work on other things, you can't tell me that the company or the game is not dying. The fact that Final Shape did worse than Lightfall is a red flag. Now, I will give some context that Lightfall was popular for multiple reasons. One, COVID. Two, everyone was riding on the hype that was the Witch Queen. Like, we were excited after the final reveal of the Witness. We're like, we want to know more about this guy. We're hyped. We are ready. Also, Season of the Seraph was actually a pretty good season compared to all things. It was probably, it ended in a good way. People were actually excited to go into Lightfall because of such a good season. Season of the Wish was so boring and bare minimum. The only thing that got people excited to even go into the Final Shape was Into the Light. If they had literally went right into the Final Shape from Season of the Wish, it would have been dead on arrival. Absolutely. But like I said, so you have COVID, more people are playing games. You're having the hype of Witch Queen, people are riding the high. And another thing is Bungie paid a lot of high-end streamers to give this game attention. Right? People, they were playing Witch Queen. People were seeing how good Witch Queen is. And they're like, ooh, Lightfall's coming out. This is my time to come in. My favorite streamer. And it is. There is a hive mentality. I'm not saying that it happens all the time and it is massive. What usually happens is streamer plays game and everyone else wants to play the same game to play with them. But then what happens is as soon as they leave, those people also leave. It's artificial. Now you're going to have a couple people that get synced into it. And I think that's the process of why you hire streamers to play your game or advertise is because you want to try to get as many people synced in as possible. But what happened with Lightfall was you have all these people watching these high-end streamers, and Lightfall was a dumpster fest. It was a dumpster fire. And so people are like, ew, why would I play this dumpster fire? So that's something to keep in context as to why 67% just said, peace, I'm out. A lot of people use the Final Shape as a final farewell. This is it. We're done. But he mentions episodes, and this episode is so bad. No one cares about the conductor. No one, a character that most people don't know who she is until you just get this little blurb on like in the middle of the episode. Not even like the first week. In the middle of the episode, you get this little blurb of like who Maya is, and most people don't even know. Like why should I care? Why should I care? This person's not scary. We just beat the Witness. Who is this little joke? Like, again, we should have been introduced to the main threat at the very beginning, not the tail end. Like, it is so weird that we're just now seeing a threat, and it's at the very end of Act 2. So Act 3, we're getting a resolution. Like, what? You're telling me we are introduced to the actual threat, but we're only going to have 3 weeks to engage with said threat. Yeah, so overall, I think even though episodes are cheaper, they're also crappier. At least so far, they're crappier. I really do hope. A lot of people are hyped about Dreadnought coming back. We gotta hope that they're looking intensely at Act 2 and Act 3. I'm not going to give Act 1 an excuse because of the final shape. In fact, I would say this act is actually one of the reasons why people left. I would absolutely say this episode 1 is 100% the reason why people left, who didn't want to stick around, because they're like, oh, okay, what's going on? And they saw this dog crap and how it's like time gated. You have other games that are seasonal, like even like Diablo has a season. None of their missions are time gated. Like, you just play at your own pace. No one wants to be time gated. It's boring. It's stupid. It's garbage. Like, it is. And if there's people like, I like it. Well, here's the thing. Play at your own pace. Like, I think it is the most mentally challenged statement. And yes, these are mentally challenged are people who have intelligence but refuse to use it. Mentally challenged statement of, because I'm incapable of controlling myself, I need these limitations to stop me from playing. I have to be forced to play bi-weekly or every week. You could just do that. Like, if they opened it up and say, hey, here's the story, play at your own pace. If you can't play one mission a week because that's how you want to play, that is a you problem. Like, that, what are you talking about? I like how it is. Okay, well then play that way. When they open it up for everyone to play however they want to play with this next act, literally, you should never play more than 1 week. I don't want to hear a thing about those people complaining about it, because literally you can still do the same thing. No one is telling you you have to burn through the content. Well, my so-and-so streamer is going through it, so I feel like I have to do it or I'm going to be spoiled. Then don't watch them. Again, no one should cater to you because you're incapable of limiting yourself. It's just mind-numbingly dumb how people are. Well, just because I like it, everyone else should play the way I like it. Where I think it is absolutely better for it to be open. So if you want to blow through the content, that is your choice. If you want to savor the content, that is your choice. The people that blow through it have absolutely no right to complain about blowing through it because they chose to do so. I think fair is fair. I think that is a fair assessment, a fair criticism from people who want to savor the content. If people blow through it and then complain about it being so short when we know that it's going to be short, then that's a you problem. Now, if you think the content itself is lackluster, then you have every right to criticize that, which, as you can see from the numbers, people have criticized it with their choice of not playing the game. Like, you and I can argue in the comment section all we want about whether it's good or not. This is not good. This is not good. The numbers dipping, not good. Not good at all. We will have to see how it goes. I think Destiny, that the rumor is, if they focus on content like Into the Light, they focus on guns and stuff, like actual rewards that people really want and will chase, like shinies, stuff like that, right? That when people loved Into the Light, you actually have a activity that's not just this flavorless, bland, regurgitated, oh, we've done these Battlefront fields or whatever the heck they're called every freaking season, and it's just the same old garbage every single time. If they spice it up, if they do less but it's more, like, sometimes quality is better than quantity. And I know there's going to be people complaining that there's not a lot of content. I would rather less content but more quality than to have like endless, like, Again, seasons, there was stuff to do every week, but it was just chores, collect X, Y, and Z. I would rather them remove all that garbage and focus on actually like a mission once in a blue moon that's actually good versus, oh, I collected a frog for the week. That's the biggest thing that happened in the story. And I just, don't you think frog is cool? You spent money for frog. Frog, guys. You want to buy that in our store? We have a pin, Mr. Johnson or whatever his name, Captain Johnson or whatever. The frog, Mr. Frog. Isn't that great? You spent money for this content. And now I'm being facetious, but you know what I mean. I think if Sony pushes them in the corner, I think they can bring out some bangers. And I think they can if they condense, they weed out the bullcrap. I think, I'm going to be honest. I think now that Sony's telling them, hey, you can't screw around, and people have like leaders, like actual leaders have been fired, or like Luke Smith has actually left. I think that's going to be enough of a shakeup, especially even in the higher up, that maybe they'll get their crap together. And if Peace Parton feels like there's a fire under his butt with the community and Sony, maybe we might actually get some gems in the future. We'll have to wait and see. You can say, people are going to be saying Destiny's garbage, your hopium, your copium. Hey, I like Destiny and I don't want it to die, but it is currently dying. It is on life support because of Sony, and the only person that's keeping it alive is Sony. We know it's only Sony that's keeping this game alive, and it's only a matter of time whether they decide, hey, we're going to take over, or there goes the life support and there goes Destiny. I don't think that's going to be the case, because I think Sony realizes Destiny has a certain gunplay that no other game has been able to really copy. Like, there's no other game. There's a reason why the First Ascendant copied Warframe instead of verbatim Destiny's, because no one else does it like Destiny. And so they have something. I don't see Sony throwing that away. Now, do I see them maybe respinning it and making a new package? They could. And maybe that's what we need. Maybe it's time to repackage how Destiny is. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. As always, be the best version of yourself. And until next time, game out. Huzzah.